Let's begin by offering our respects to the preeminent Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jnana timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Itti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Thinking
Bhagavate
when you do
Vasudevaya.
human thinking,
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, so what did we see in the previous class?
The secondary rasas and different types or different kinds of incarnations of the Lord.
Yes, in the introduction of the Krishna book, we saw the different incarnations of the Lord and the different rasas. Very nice. What else did we see?
And Mataji, we came across about some small description about the Golok Vrindavan.
Yes, the description about the spiritual realm or Goloka Vrindavan. Very nice. What else? Did we see about Guru Parampara, the 4 authorized sampradayas? How many authorized sampradayas are there?
4.
4. What are they?
Shri Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, Shri Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, and Kumara Sampradaya.
Yes, very nice. Okay. And how many kinds of Vishnus are there?
3.
3. Who are they?
Karanodaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and Shirodaksha Vishnu.
Yes. So, Karanodakasha Vishnu lies on which ocean?
Causal ocean.
Causal ocean or Karana ocean. And Garbhodakasha Vishnu? Garbhodakasha Vishnu is on the name says it all. Garbhodaka ocean. And Kshirodakashayi Vishnu is on the which ocean?
Shiro.
Yeah, on the Kshir Sagar, no?
Kshir-
On the
Kshir
ocean.
Sagar.
Kshir is what?
Is milk.
Milk. So Kshirodakashayi Vishnu is on the ocean of milk.
Milk.
So just as how we have the ocean of salt water, there are other oceans in the universe, which we will be seeing in detail today. But Kshirodakashayi Vishnu lives on the Kshir Sagar, or on the ocean of milk. Very nice. What else? And we also saw how Krishna Katha is what we hear about Krishna as well as what we hear from Krishna. Bhagavad Gita we hear from Krishna, and Srimad Bhagavatam we learn about Krishna. So both constitute Krishna Katha. Okay. So let's begin today's session. Who can read today?
Can I start? Can I read?
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Shri Hari Radha Mataji. 1 second. Let me just get my... Can you all see?
It's a bit small, but it's okay.
Okay, now?
Yeah, this is nice. Can I start from where it says Krishna has threefold pastimes? From
Yes,
there?
Yes, please.
Okay. Krishna has threefold pastimes. The Vraj Leela, Mathura Leela, and the Dwarka Leela. Chapter 1 to 4 describes Lord Brahma's prayers for the relief of the earth's burden and the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 4 chapters. Chapters 5 to 39 describes Krishna's pastime in Vrindavan. 35 chapters. Chapter 29 to 33 describes Krishna's dancing with the gopis, known as the Rasa Leela. Therefore, these 5 chapters are known as Rasa Panchadhyay. Chapter 40 describe how Krishna enjoyed the water of the Yamuna and how Akura offered prayers. Chapter 41 to 51 describes Krishna's pastime in Mathura, 11 chapters. Chapter 47 is known as the Brahma Geet, the Song of the Bee, where Srimati Radha Rani talks to a bumblebee and exhibits topmost transcendental ecstasy called Mahabhav. Chapter 50-90 describe Krishna's pastime in Dwarka, 39 chapters. Hare Krishna.
So Krishna's threefold pastimes, in these 3 places, he displayed his pastimes in Vrindavan, in Mathura, and in Dwarka. So here, till chapter number 39, we see Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. And then for chapter 40 describes how Akrura offered prayers. So Akrura is actually Krishna's uncle, and Kamsa had sent Akrura to Vrindavan to bring Krishna to Mathura. So this chapter, after this chapter, we see Krishna's pastimes in Mathura, because here Akrura has taken Krishna from Vrindavan to Mathura. And after this happens, then we see Krishna's pastimes in Mathura, where he killed Kamsa and all other things, and he is reunited with his biological parents, so to speak. And then finally, we have the last 39 chapters of Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka, where Krishna lived as a householder. Okay, so this is the split up of this particular book. So there is a question here in the chat. We will be starting with chapter 1. Not all the slides are there in the book because I have added some other extra information in the PowerPoint presentation. But we are now beginning from chapter 1. Which page really I don't know, because it may vary from book to book. Okay, but you can start chapter 1. We'll be starting from there.
Mataji, it is page number 11 of the Krishna book.
Okay, page 11. Thank you, Tejal. So Krishna book, chapter 1 is titled The Advent of Lord Krishna. Let's read this.
Once the world was overburdened by the unnecessary defense was of different kings, who were actually demons but were posing themselves as the royal order. At that time, the whole world became perturbed, and the predominating deity of this earth, known as Bhumi, went to see Lord Brahma to tell of her calamities due to the demoniac kings. Bhumi assumed the shape of a cow and presented herself before Lord Brahma with tears in her eyes. She was bereaved and was weeping just to invoke the Lord's compassion. She related the calamitous position of the earth, and after hearing this, Lord Brahma became much aggrieved, and he at once started for the ocean of milk, where Lord Vishnu resides. Lord Brahma was accompanied by all the demigods, headed by Lord Shiva, and Bhumi also followed. Arriving on the shore of the milk ocean, Lord Brahma began to pacify Lord Vishnu, who had formerly saved the earthly planet by assuming the transcendental form of a boar. Hare Krishna.
So Bhumi Devi or Mother Earth is very much disturbed because of the demons, and therefore she takes the form of a, who can say?
Cow.
Cow. She takes the form of a cow and she approaches whom?
Brahmaji.
Yeah, she goes to Lord Brahma. And then where does Lord Brahma go?
To the milk shore where Vishnu resides.
Yes.
Ocean of milk where
Which
Vishnu
Vishnu is residing in the milk ocean?
Shiro Daksha Vishnu.
Shiro Dakashai Vishnu, isn't it? Or the Paramatma. So Shiro Dakashai, they approach Shiro Dakashai Vishnu. And here it says, arriving on the shore of the milk ocean, Lord Brahma began to pacify Lord Vishnu, who had formerly saved the earthly planet by assuming the transcendental form of a boar. So which incarnation is being spoken of here?
Boar.
What's his name?
Varaha.
Varahadev. Yes, Varahadev. So we know that there were two demons, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksh. Hiranyakashipu was killed by
Vara.
Hiranyakashipu
Narasimhadev.
was killed by Narsimadev and Hiranyaksh was killed by Varahadev. Actually, they were the twin brothers. They were the twin sons of Diti. And she brought forth these two demons after a full 100 years of pregnancy. The Bhagavatam describes this. And when they were born itself, there were many inauspicious signs. So Bhagavatam describes how Lord Brahma is the first demigod and Hiranyaksha is the first demon in this universe.
One only under certain
No, we're
conditions.
not going to, wait, hold on. We're not going to read everything in detail. I'll just explain. So here, Mother Earth was very much disturbed because of the activities of Hiranyaksh. Hiranyaksh means the great exploiter of the gold rush. So he used to exploit earth to extract gold. And because of that, he created so much disturbance that the earth got detached, because the planets are floating, right? And the earth got detached and it fell into the Garbhodaka ocean. Therefore, then Lord Varahadev, he went inside the ocean, and he brought Mother Earth out of the ocean. So this is the pastime of Varahadev. This is what is being described in this previous slide. And of course, we know that Hiranyakashipu was killed by Narsimadev to save his dearmost devotee, Prahlad. Okay, now yes.
Krishna book 1, contrary.
Continue.
Continued. Okay. In the Vedic mantras, there is a particular type of prayers called Purusha Shukta. Generally, the demigods offer their obeisances unto Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by chanting the Purusha Sukta. It is understood herein that the predominating deity of every planet can see the Supreme Lord of this universe, Brahma, whenever there is some disturbance on this planet, and Brahma can approach the Supreme Lord Vishnu not by seeing him directly, but by standing on the shore of the ocean of the milk. There is a planet within this universe called Swatabdeep. And on that planet, there is an ocean of milk. It is understood from the various Vedic literatures that just as there is the ocean of salt water on this planet. Did I skip a line? I didn't skip a line, did I?
No,
No,
you're
I
fine.
didn't. There are various kinds of oceans on other planets. Somewhere there is an ocean of milk, somewhere there is an ocean of oil, and somewhere there's an ocean of liquor and of many other types of liquors. Yeah, liquids. The Purusha Sukta is the standard prayer which the demigod recite to appease the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kriyadakshi, Kriyadakshi Vishnu, because he is lying on the ocean of milk, he is called Kriyadakshi Vishnu. He is the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through whom all the incarnations within this universe appear. Hare
So the Purusha Shakta prayers are the standard prayers which are recited by the demigods to please Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. So as we discussed, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu is lying on the ocean of milk, the Kshir Sagar. And see here, he is the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through whom all the incarnations within this universe appear. So he is the gateway. He is the gateway through which all the incarnations appear within this universe. So this is a planet which is within the universe, a spiritual planet within the material universe, where Kshirodakashayi Vishnu is residing. And through this gateway, all the incarnations are coming into this particular universe. Therefore, it appears that Krishna is an incarnation of Vishnu because he is also coming through this particular gateway. But we know that Krishna is not the origin. We know that Vishnu is coming from Krishna and not vice versa. It's just that Krishna is coming through the gateway of Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. Therefore, it appears, or it is a common belief, or it is a common understanding that Krishna is an avatar of Vishnu, but it is vice versa. Because we know from the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna says that he has no other origin but himself. So Krishna's origin is not Vishnu. Vishnu's origin is Krishna. So we know that let's try to understand a little more about these different oceans that are existing. We saw in the previous class that there are 14 planetary systems within each universe. There are millions of universes that are coming from the body of Mahavishnu as he breathes out, right? So one universe here, we are showing on the picture, it has 14 planetary systems. And where are we situated? We are here in Burloka, in the middle planetary system. Now in this middle planetary system, we have these 7 islands, okay, called Bhumandala. So every island here is surrounded by a particular ocean. Then we have an island, and then an ocean, then an island, and then an ocean. So we see here the innermost island is Jambudweep, where Bharatvarsha is located. That we will see in another picture. So Jambudweep is the innermost island, and it is surrounded by the salt ocean. That's why we have the salt ocean. When we go to the beach, we have the saltwater ocean, isn't it? So Jambudweep is surrounded by the salt ocean. And then we have these other dweepas, Plaksha Dweepa, surrounded by the sugar ocean. So like that, we have different dweepas surrounded by different oceans. So we have the liquor ocean, an ocean of ghee, ocean of milk. So Kshir Samudra, this is where it is in this particular ocean where Kshirodakashayi Vishnu is residing. Then we have an ocean of yogurt, and then we have a freshwater ocean. Each island, see, Jambudweep is 100,000 yojanas, and the double of that is the next island, and the double of that is the next island. So like that, each island is double the size of the previous island. Here is another picture to give you a more clearer view. See, the innermost island is Jambudweep, and here in the center of Jambudweep is what we have, the Sumeru, or the Meru mountain. You may have heard it. So that is right in the center of Jambudweep. Now this is only Jambudweep, okay? The innermost island is Jambudweep here, and you can see Bharatvarsha is one part of Jambudweep here, this particular portion. So this Jambudvip is divided into 9 khandas or 9 sections, and Bharatavarsha is one of the 9 sections here, and it is surrounded by the Himalayas. So each khanda or each section is surrounded by another mountain range. So we have here other mountain ranges, Hemakota, Nishada, you can see here. So these are all different mountain ranges here. Each Varsha has a certain mountain range, and Bharat Varsha, our mother earth, planet earth, is surrounded by the Himalayas. And Sumeru, as we saw in the previous thing, is right in the center of Jambudvip. So as we discussed, when there is any disturbance, the predominant, let's go to the slide. See here. It is understood that the predominating deity of every planet can see the supreme lord of this universe, Brahma. So we know that Brahma is the first created demigod, and his planet is the topmost. See here, Brahma Loka is the topmost amongst the 14 planetary systems, right? So who is the predominating deity of our planet? Predominating deity of every planet can see the supreme lord of this universe, Brahma. So who is the predominating deity of our planet? Who went to see Brahma?
The Bhumi.
Bhumi Devi, yes, Bhumi Devi. So that's why it says, yes, it is understood that the predominating deity of every planet. So in our case, it is Bhumi Devi. She went to see the supreme lord of the universe, Lord Brahma, when there was a disturbance. And then what Lord Brahma has gone, Brahma can approach Lord Vishnu. So which Lord Vishnu? Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. Not by seeing him directly, but by standing on the shore of the ocean of milk. So whenever there is disturbance, that's why we see Lord Brahma, he goes and he approaches Lord Vishnu. So you can see here, Lord Vishnu is here on the ocean of milk, and Lord Brahma and the other demigods, they stand on the other side, on the shore of this ocean, and they submit their prayers. So this is what happens. So here you can see how Mount Meru is so much more bigger compared to the Himalayas. This is just to give you an idea of this is a mountain of solid gold, right in the middle of Jambudvip, Mount Meru, or Sumeru also it is called. Okay, let's continue with Krishna.
So, 1 second. After all the demigods offer the Purusha Sukta prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they apparently heard no response. Then Lord Brahma personally sat in meditation, and there was a message. Transmission from Lord Vishnu to Brahma. Brahma then broadcast the message to the demigods. That is the system of receiving Vedic knowledge. The Vedic knowledge is received first by Brahma from the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the medium of the heart. As stated in the beginning, Srimad Bhagavatam, Teen Brahma Hirdaya Yaha Adi Kevaya. The transcendental knowledge of the Vedas was transmitted to Lord Brahma through the heart. Here also, in the same way, only Brahma could understand the message transmitted by Lord Vishnu, and he broadcast it to the demigods for their immediate action. This message was this: the Supreme Personality of Godhead would appear on earth very soon, along with his supreme powerful potencies, and as long as he remained on the earth planet to execute his mission of annihilating the demons and establishing the devotees, the demigods should also remain there to assist him. They should all immediately take birth in the family of Yadu dynasty, wherein the Lord would also appear in due course of time. The Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, Krishna, would personally appear as the son of Vasudev. Before his appearance, all the demigods, along with their wives, should appear in different pious families in the world just to assist the Lord in executing his mission. The exact word used here is Tatta Priyartham, which means the demigod should appear on earth in order to please the Lord. In other words, any living entity who lives only to satisfy the Lord is a demigod. The demigods were further informed that Ananta the plenary portion of Lord Krishna, who is maintaining the universal planets by executing his millions of hoods, would also appear on earth before Lord Krishna's appearance. There was also informed that the external potency would Vishnu, Maya, with whom all the conditioned souls are enamored, would also appear by the order of the Supreme Lord just to uh, I can't see anything because your thing is coming in the middle.
Okay, just to execute his purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. So here, how does Lord Brahma receive the message? Through the heart. How can there be a message transmission? Who's residing in the heart?
Krishna, Vishnu.
Which Vishnu?
Um Shri
Shirodaksha Vishnu.
Kshirodakashayi Vishnu or the Paramatma. So this Paramatma is residing in the heart of every living entity. No, he is residing in the heart of each one of us, also in the heart of the ants, right from the smallest ant, right up to Lord Brahma. So this Paramatma, and that's how we receive the message in the heart. That's how Brahma has received the message in the heart. So sometimes when we do something wrong, we say that, oh, my consciousness is pricking me. What is that consciousness pricking us? It is nothing but the Paramatma speaking to us. So the Paramatma is always residing in our hearts to guide us on the right path. So this is what happened. And what's the message that Brahma has received in his heart?
he received that he has to take incarnation on the earth for his plan to please Krishna, and for his plan to Krishna had a plan to be born on this earth, so he needed assistance. So then Brahma would assist him.
Yeah, not
with
only
other
Brahma, but all the demigods. See, it says that
with
the
other
demigods should remain there to assist him. So all the demigods have to take birth in the Yadu dynasty, and they have to assist the Lord in his pastimes. Now, who is being spoken of here? The demigods were further informed that Ananta, the plenary portion of Lord Krishna. So who came as Ananta? Or Ananta came as who?
Balram Bhaiya.
Balaram, yes, Balaram. Okay, and here, external potency of Vishnu, Maya. Who is this? Who is she?
Durga, Maya.
Durga Devi, yes. So even Durga Devi has come on this planet, as well as Ananta Shesha, to assist Lord Krishna in his pastimes. We will see the details as we advance in our Krishna book. Let's continue.
After instructing and pacifying all the demigods as well as Bhumi with sweet words, Lord Brahma, the father of all Prajapatis or progenitors of the universal population, departed from his own abode, the highest material planet called Brahmaloka. The leader of the Yadu dynasty, King Surasayan, was ruling over the country known as Mathura, wherein lies the city of Mathura, as well as the district known as Surusain, which was named after him on account of the rule of King Surasain. Mathura became the capital city of all the kings of the Yadus. Mathura was also made the capital of the kings of the Yadu dynasty because the Yadus were very pious family and knew that Mathura is the place where Lord Shri Krishna lives internally, just as he also lives in Dwarka. Hare Krishna.
So Prajapati, what does that word Prajapati mean?
Prajapati means the leader of the leader of the what do you call those people?
The population.
The population.
Yes. So Prajapati means, correct, yeah. So Prajapati means the Lord of all creatures. Any great personality who increased the population in the beginning of creation, they are referred to as Prajapatis. Like we have Kashyapa Muni, we have Manu, Daksha, Brigu, Marichi, Kardama Muni. They were all Prajapatis who increased the population in the beginning of creation. And Lord Brahma is also referred to as Prajapati sometimes. And sometimes he is referred to as Prajapati Pati. Prajapati Pati means the father of the Prajapatis, because Lord Brahma, at the beginning of creation, he brought forth living entities for the sake of populating the universe. That's why Brahma is called as Prajapati Pati, or the father of the Prajapatis. Okay, so what's happening here? So who is Surasena?
He's the king of the city of Mathura.
Yes, and he's the father of? Who
He's
knows?
the father of, I forgot.
He's the father of Vasudev. Vasudev is the father.
Vasudeva is the father of Krishna.
Yes. Okay. Let's see what happened next.
So once upon a time, Vasudev, the son of Surasen, just after marrying Devaki, was going home on his chariot with his newly wedded wife. The father of Devaki, known as Devka, had contributed a sufficient dowry because he was very affectionate towards his daughter. He had contributed hundreds of chariots completely decorated with gold equipment. At that time, Kans, the son of Ugrasen, in order to please his sister Devaki, and had voluntarily taken the reins of the horses of Vasudev's chariot, and was driving. According to the custom of the Vedic civilization, when a girl is married, the brother takes the sister and brother-in-law to their home, because the newly married girl may feel too much separation from her father's family. The brother goes with her until she reaches her father-in-law's house. The full dowry contributed by Dwarka was as followed: 400 elephants fully decorated with golden garlands, 15,000 decorated horses, and 1,800 chariots. He also arranged 200 beautiful girls to follow his daughter. The Kshatriya system of marriage, still current in India, dictates that when a Kshatriya is married, a few dozen of the bride's young girlfriends, in addition to the bride, go to the house of the king. The followers of the queen are called maid servants, but actually they act as friends of the queen. This practice is prevalent from the time immemorial, traceable at least to the time before the advent of Lord Krishna 5,000 years ago. So Vasudev brought home another 200 beautiful girls along with his wife Devaki. Hare Krishna.
So what's happening here? Devaki has just been married to Vasudev. See, when we refer to Krishna, we say Vasudev. But when we refer to Krishna's father, we say Vasudev. So we should be careful. Vasudev and Vasudev. So Vasudev and Devaki are just married, and Kamsa is taking them. He is the chariot driver, and he's taking Devaki to her new home. What is the name of Devaki's father?
Surasena.
No, Devaka. Devaka.
Devaka. Devaki's father is Devaka. Surasena is the father of
Vasudeva.
Vasudev.
And Kamsa's father's name is?
Jarasandha. No.
Jarasen?
Ugrasen.
Ugrasen.
Ugrasen. Yes,
Ugrasen.
Kamsa's father is Ugrasen. So what is the relationship between Kamsa and Devaki?
Cousins.
Brother,
They are
sisters.
cousins.
brother
Yes,
and
cousins.
sister.
Because Devaka and Ugrasen, they were brothers. So therefore they are, therefore Devaki and Kamsa, they are cousins. Okay, let's see what happens next.
While the bride and the bridegroom were passing along on the chair, there were different kinds of musical instruments playing to indicate the auspicious moment. There were conch shells, bugles, drums, and kettle drums. Combined together, they were vibrating a nice concert. The procession was passing very pleasingly, and Kans was driving the chariot when suddenly there was a miraculous sound vibrated from the sky, which especially announced of Kans. Kans, who you are such a fool. You are driving the chariot of your sister and your brother-in-law, but you do not know that the eighth child of this sister will kill you. Hare Krishna.
So as he's driving the chariot, Kamsa is told by a voice in the sky that Devaki's eighth child is going to kill you. Let's see what happens next.
Kans was the son of Ugrasen of the Bhoja dynasty. It is said that Kans was the most demoniac of all the Bhoja dynasty kings. Immediately after hearing the prophecy from the sky, he caught hold of Devaki's hair and was just about to kill her with his sword. Vasudev was astonished at Kamsa's behavior in order to pacify the cruel, shameless brother-in-law, he began to speak as follows. With great reason and evidence, he said, "My dear brother-in-law Kans, you are the most famous king of the Bhoja dynasty, and people know that you are the greatest warrior of a valiant king. How is it that you are so infuriated that you are prepared to kill a woman who is your own sister at this auspicious time of her marriage? Why should you be so much afraid of that? That is already born along with your birth. From the very day you took your birth, you begin to die. Suppose you are 25 years old. That means you have already died 25 years. Every moment, every second, you are dying. Why then should you be so much afraid of that final that is inevitable? You may die either today or in 100 years. You cannot avoid that. Why should you be so much afraid?" Hare Krishna.
So Kamsa immediately now he wants to kill his sister, and Vasudev is trying to pacify him and trying to convince him to not kill his sister. Now Vasudev, of course, is not an ordinary personality. It's he's a pure devotee. That's why Krishna has chosen him. He chosen him to come as his son, isn't it? So you see, Vasudev, he's talking high philosophy here, and he's telling that why should you be afraid of death? He says that when you are 25 years old, that means you have already died 25 years. So this is a lesson for us also. As we age, as we advance, every birthday means we have died so many years. It means we have that much less time to perfect our lives. That much less time. Every birthday is a reminder that, okay, one more year is gone and one more year less you have now to perfect your time. Okay, let's see. Next.
Actually, that means annihilation of the present body. As soon as the present body stops functioning and mixes with the five elements of material nature, the living entity within the body accepts another body according to his present action and reactions. It is just like when a man walks on the street, he puts forward his foot, and when he is confident that his foot is situated on sound ground, he lifts the outer foot. In this way, one after another, the bodies change and the soul transmigrates. See how the planet worms change from one twig to another so carefully. Similarly, the living entity changes his body as soon as the higher authorities decide on his next body. As long as a living entity is conditioned within this material world, he must take material bodies one after another. His next particular body is offered by the laws of nature according to the actions
And reactions of this life. So here we see Vasudev is talking about how the soul transmigrates from one body to another body. We know from the Bhagavad Gita that there are how many different kinds of bodies? Who can say? How many different kinds of bodies exist?
84 lakh.
84 lakh or 8,400,000 different kinds of bodies are existing to accommodate the different kinds of desires of the different living entities. So what determines the body that we get?
Reactions and the actions of our activities,
Yes,
of our karma.
yes, exactly. So what we do in this current lifetime determines what our next body is going to be. And the current body that we have has been determined by what we have done in a previous lifetime. So if we don't use the current human body for realizing God, because human birth is meant to realize God. Human birth is not meant for eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. It's not only meant for sense gratification. It is meant to realize God. So if we don't use the body for realizing the Lord, then we are going to fall down and we may have to accept an animal body or a tree body or an aquatic body or any of these reptiles body or any of these lower bodies where the principal activity is only eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But if we use the body to realize God, if we use our body for devotional service, and if we can perfect our human life, then we can get a spiritual body. And spiritual body means we are in the spiritual world. As long as we are in the material world, we have to accept material bodies. Let's go next.
This body is exactly like one of the bodies which we always see in dreams. During our dream of sleep, we create so many bodies according to mental creation. We have seen gold and we have also seen a mountain. So in a dream, we can see a golden mountain by combining the two ideas. Sometimes in dreams, we see that we have a body which is flying in the sky, and at that time, we completely forget our present body. Similarly, these bodies are changing. When you have one body, you forget the past body. During a dream, when may during a dream we may make contact with so many new kinds of bodies, but when are awake, we forget them all. And actually, these material bodies are the creation of our mental activities. But at the present moment, we do not recollect our past bodies. Hare Krishna.
So when we take a new body, we do not forget the previous body that we had. Do we remember what we were in a previous lifetime? We do not remember, isn't it? So when we change bodies, we don't remember our previous lifetime, unless as a rare case, okay, very, very rare case, if the Paramatma permits, then one in a freak case, 1 in a million may remember his past life. We know that there are such cases, isn't it? And also from the Bhagavatam, there is a story of Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj, he remembered his previous lifetime. So anyway, the point here is, we do not remember our previous body. We do not remember our previous lifetime. And see here, it says here, material bodies, where is that? Material bodies are the creations of our mental activities. Actually, in Kali Yuga, we do not take reaction for any offense that we commit mentally. Now, in my mind, if I'm thinking that, okay, I'm engaging in some sinful activity, but not physically, only mentally, it's only on the mental platform, then Kali Yuga gives me the facility that I don't have to take the reaction for it. But still, any action that we do, what precedes that action is the impetus for that action. So the impetus for that action is what? Is the inspiration for that action. So there is a psychological process of thinking, feeling, and willing that goes on before actually I commit a particular activity. So yes, our body, our next body depends on how we act, but there is a mental progression that precedes that enactment of willing to do that action. So from that angle of vision, yes, the various bodies are creations of our mental activities. Next.
The nature of the mind is flickering. Sometimes it accepts, sometimes and immediately it rejects the same thing. Accepting and rejecting is the process of the mind in contact with the 5 objects of sense gratification: form, taste, smell, sound, and touch. In its speculative way, the mind comes in touch with the objects of sense gratification. And when the living entity desires a particular type of body, he gets it. Therefore, the body is an offering by the laws of material nature. The living entity accepts a body and comes out again into a material world to enjoy or suffer according to the construction of the body. Unless we have a particular type of body, we cannot enjoy or suffer according to our mental proclivities inherited from the previous life. The particular type of body is actually offered to us according to our mental condition at the time of that. Hare Krishna.
So see, when the living entity desires a particular type of body, he gets it. So the body that we get, previously we discussed, we get according to our action and reaction. And here is being said that when the living entity desires a particular type of body, he gets it. So actually the body that we get is a combination of what we deserve and what we desire. Now, I may desire to get the body of the richest person on the planet in the next lifetime, but I should also deserve it. I should also have that much punya karma to back that kind of desire. So it's a combination of what I deserve and what I desire. For example, if there is somebody who's qualified, he's now a qualified surgeon and he has the degree in hand. Now he's qualified to perform a open heart surgery, but he does not desire to do it. Who can force him? On the other hand, somebody may desire to perform an open heart surgery, but if he does not have the qualification, if he has not studied and he does not have the degree and he does not deserve, then he's not going to be allowed to perform that operation. So it's a combination of what you deserve as well as what you desire. That determines our next body. Now, who is speaking all these things? Such high philosophy, who's speaking?
Vasudev.
Vasudev. Yes, Vasudev is speaking to whom? We should not lose the track. To whom is he speaking?
Kamsa.
To
Kamsa.
Kamsa. Yes,
Kamsa.
to prevent Kamsa from killing his sister.
Devaki.
Devaki.
Yes. Let's continue.
The luminous planets like the sun, moon, or stars reflect themselves in different types of reservoirs like water, oil, or ghee. The reflection moves according to the movement of the reservoir. The reflection of the moon is on the water, and the moving water makes the moon also appear to be moving, but actually the moon is not moving. Similarly, by mental connotation, the living entity attains different kinds of bodies, although actually he has no connection with such bodies. But on account of illusion, being enchanted by the influence of Maya, the living entity thinks that he belongs to a particular type of body. That is the way of conditioned life. Suppose a living entity is now in a human form of body. He thinks that he belongs to a human community or a particular country or a particular place. He identifies himself in that way and unnecessarily prepares for another body which is not required by him. Such desires and mental concoctions are the cause of the different types of bodies. The covering influence of material nature is so strong that the living entity is satisfied in whatever body he gets, and he identifies with the body with great pleasure. Therefore, I beg to request you not to be overwhelmed by the direction of your mind and body. Hare Krishna.
So what is Vasudev saying here? He's explaining how the living entity starts to identify with the body the living entity has, which is not good, because that means again we are going to take birth. The more we are attached to the current body, the more the chances that we will be taking birth again in this material world. For example, if somebody is born in India and he's very much attached to that identification that he is Indian, and somebody speaks something negative about their country, then immediately they feel offended because he's identifying with the body that he's Indian. See, if somebody is born in Maharashtra and there is a match, say there is a match between Maharashtra and West Bengal, whom are they going to support? They will support Maharashtra. Now, the same person, if there is a match between India versus Pakistan, now he is going to identify himself as an Indian now, no more as a Maharashtrian. Now he's going to support India versus Pakistan. So he's identifying with the body that he has. But the soul is not Indian or American or Pakistani or Maharashtrian or man, woman, rich, poor. The soul is just Satchit Ananda. The soul does not have these bodily identifications. Another example, if a woman feels offended when something is spoken against women, that means she is strongly identifying herself with the body of the woman that she has. But we are not what we see in the mirror. What we see in the mirror is only the gross body. That is not who we are. We are the spirit soul. And the spirit soul is beyond all these bodily identifications. See here, Vasudev is making a very, very important point. He says, the covering influence of material nature is so strong. So Maya is so strong that the living entity is satisfied in whatever body he gets. And he identifies with that body with great pleasure. He identifies with the body. So an Indian is identifying himself as an Indian because he's identifying with the body of that Indian that he has got. Because it so happened that he was born in India. So he identifies with that body with great pleasure. So this is bodily identification. There is an example of how even Lord Indra identified himself with the body of a hog. Actually, Indra was cursed to become a hog by his spiritual master. And when the time had come for Indra to go back to heaven, Indra, who was in the body of the hog, he said that, no, I don't want to go. I'm very happy with my life. I have my wife pig, my children piglets, and I'm very happy in this pig society. So I don't want to go. So even Lord Indra was identifying with the body of the hog that he had. So material nature, Maya, is so strong that we identify with the body. Let's read this.
At at once at one time, Indra, the king of heaven, committed an offense at the feet of his spiritual master, and his spiritual master cursed him to take the birth of a hog. Thus, the throne of the heavenly kingdom became empty as Indra went to earth to become a hog. Seeing the situation, Brahma came to earth and addressed the hog. My dear sir, you have become a hog on this planet Earth. I have come to deliver you. Come with me at once, but the hawk replied, Oh, I cannot go with you. I have so many responsibilities. My children, wife, and this nice hawk society. Even though Brahma promised to take him back to heaven, Indra, in the form of a hawk, refused. This is called forgetfulness. Similarly, Lord Sri Krishna comes and says to us, What are you doing in this material world? Sarva dharma parityagamamaekam sharanam vraj. Come to me, I'll give you all protection. But we say, I don't believe you, sir. I have more important business here. This is the position of the conditioned soul, forgetfulness. This forgetfulness is quickly dissipated by falling in the path of the disciple succession. Raj Vidya, the king of knowledge, chapter 5, Hari Krishna.
So Krishna also tells us in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharmam parityaja mam ekam sharanam raja. He says, just surrender unto me. I'll give you all protection. There is nothing to worry. But how many of us are ready? If Krishna was to say, come with me right now, how many of us are ready to go? How many of
I'm
us
ready,
are ready
Mataji.
to go? You're ready? Jai. So you are on the liberated state. Congratulations. Okay, so most people would say, oh wait, hold on, I have something else to attend to. No, I have my family, or have something to, I want to wind up my business, or I want to wind up my bank accounts. How many of us are willing to go right now? That is a test to see whether we are prepared for death.
I am Mataji.
Jai. Okay, let's continue.
Vasudev thus requested Kans not to be envious of this newly married sister. One should not be envious of anyone because envy is the cause of fear, both in this world and in the next. When one is before Yamraj, the lord of punishment, after that, Vasudev appealed to Kans on behalf of Devaki, stating that she was his younger sister. He also appealed at an auspicious moment at the time of marriage. A younger sister or brother is supposed to be protected as one's child. The position is overall so delicate, Vasudev reasoned, that if you kill her, it will go against against your high reputation. In this way, Vasudev tried to pacify Kans by good instruction as well as by philosophical discrimination. But Kans was not to be pacified because his association was demoniac. Because of his demoniac association, he was a demon. Although born in a very high royal family, a demon never cares for any good instruction. He's just like a determined thief. One can give him moral instruction, but it will not be effective. Similarly, those who are demoniac or atheistic by nature can hardly assimilate any good instruction, however authorized it may be. That is the difference between a demigod and demons. Those who can accept good instruction and try to live their lives in that way are called demigods, and those who are unable to take such good instructions are called demons. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so envy is the cause of fear both in this world and in the next when one is before Yamaraj. The original reason why we are here in this material world is because we were envious of the position of the Lord. When we were in the spiritual world, we wanted to see what it is like to be the controller, what it is like to be God. We wanted to be independent of God. So because we were envious of the position of the Lord, therefore we fell down to this material world. Who is Yamaraj? God of?
Yamaraj
Death.
is the god of
Death.
Yeah, God of
punishment.
death. Who's the famous twin sister of Yamaraj?
Yamuna.
Yamuna, yes, Yamuna Devi, very nice. And they are the children of which Devata?
Sun god.
Sun God.
Sun God, Surya Dev. Very nice. Okay, let's continue.
Failing in his attempt to pacify Kans, Vasudev wondered how he would protect his wife Devaki when there is immense imminent danger, an intelligent person should try to avoid the dangerous position as far as possible. But if, in spite of endeavoring by all intelligence, one fails to avoid the dangerous position, there is no fault on his part. One should try his best to execute his duties, but if the attempt fails, he is not at fault. Vasudev thought of his wife as follows: for the present, let me save the life of Devki. Then later on, if there are children, I shall see how to save them. He further thought, if in the future I get a child who can kill Kans, just as Kans is thinking, then both Devki and the child will be saved, because the law of the providence is inconceivable. But now, some way or other, them. Let me save the life of Devki. Hare Krishna.
So Vasudev has spoken such high philosophy, but still he is not able to convince Kamsa, because Kamsa is a demon. So a person with demoniac mentality will not be able to understand. Now Vasudev somehow or the other, for now he says, okay, let me just save Devaki's life. So therefore he tells Kamsa that whenever I get a child, I will hand it over to you. Let's read.
There is no certainty how a living entity contacts a certain type of body, just as there is no certainty how a blazing fire comes in contact with a certain type of wood in the forest. When there is a forest fire, it is experienced that the blazing fire sometimes leaps over one tree and catches another by the influence of the wind. Similarly, a living entity may be very careful in the matter of executing his duties, but it is still very difficult for him to know what type of body he is going to get in the next life. Maharaj Bharata was very faithfully executing the duties of self-realization, but by chance he developed temporary affection for a deer, and in the next life he had to accept the body of a deer. Hare Krishna.
So Bharat Maharaj, just whom we were talking about a few minutes back, see, it's Bharat Maharaj, after whom our country is called Bharat. No? So Bharat Maharaj, he was the king of the planet, and then he went to the forest to concentrate on self-realization, and he was doing his duties in the forest. But it so happened that once when he went to the river in the morning, he saw that the mother deer has just given birth to a baby deer, and she died soon after. So he takes the deer under his protection, and he starts to take care of this deer. No problem, so far so good. But what happened was, then the thought of the deer started to interfere with his devotional practices. It started to interfere with his, when he was executing his duties, it started to interfere, it started to play on his mind. And even when he passed away, or at the time of death, he was thinking about the deer. Oh, who is going to take care of the deer? What will happen to the deer after I am gone? So because of his last thought was that of a deer on his mind, the time of death, what happened? In the next birth, he was born as a deer. Okay, let's continue.
Vasudeva, after deliberating on how to save his wife, began to speak to Kans with great respect, although Kans was the most sinful man. Sometimes it happens that a most virtuous person like Vasudev has to flatter a person like Kans, a most vicious person. That is the way of all diplomatic transactions. Although Vasudev was deeply aggrieved, he smiled outwardly. He addressed the shameless Kans in that way because he was so atro- atrox, atrocious. How do you say this word? I forgot.
Cautious.
Atrocious. Vasudev said to Kams, my dear brother-in-law, please consider that you have no danger from your sister. You are awaiting some danger because you have heard the prophecy voice in the sky, but the danger is to come from the sons of your sister who are not present now, and who knows, there may or may not be sons in the future. Considering all this, you are safe for the present, nor is that their cause of fear from your sister. Is there any sons born of her? I promise that I shall present all of them to you for necessary action. Hare Krishna.
So Vasudev wants to save the life of his wife somehow or the other. So he's promising Kamsa that whenever as and when I have children, I will immediately bring the child to you, and you can do what you like with the child. Let's see what happens next.
Kans knew the value of Vasudev's words of honor, and he was convinced by his argument. For the time being, he desisted. from the heinous killing of his sister, the Vasudeva was pleased and praised the decision of Kans. In this way, he returned to his home. Each year thereafter, in due course of time, Devaki gave birth to a child. Thus, she gave birth to 8 male children, as well as one daughter. When the first son was born, Vasudeva kept his word of honor and immediately brought the child before Kans. It is said that Vasudeva was very much elevated and famous for his word of honor, and he wanted to maintain this fame. Although it was very painful for Vasudeva to hand over the newly born child, Kans was very glad to receive him, but he became a little compassionate with the behavior of Vasudeva. This event is very exemplary. For a great soul like Vasudev, there is nothing considered to be painful in course of discharging one's duty. A learned person like Vasudev carries out his duties without hesitation. On the other hand, a demon like Kans never hesitates in committing any abominable actions. It is said, therefore, that a saintly person can tolerate all kinds of miserable conditions of life. A learned man can discharge his duties without awaiting favorable circumstances. A heinous person like Kans can act in a sinful way, and a devotee can sacrifice everything to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
So Kamsa is convinced and he knows that Vasudeva will definitely keep his word. And therefore now Vasudeva and Devaki have gone to the house of Vasudeva. When Vasudeva gets his first son, he takes him to Kamsa. And here Prabhupada comments that how a learned person like Vasudeva carries out his duties without hesitation. So this is also for us. No, we have, each one of us has certain prescribed duties that we have to execute. And whether we like it or not, we have to just do our duties. Next.
Kans became satisfied by the action of Vasudeva. He was surprised to see Vasudeva keeping his promise and being compassionate upon him and pleased. He began to speak as follows: My dear Vasudeva, you need not present this child to me. I am not in danger from this child. I have heard that the 8th child born of you and Devaki will kill me. Why should I accept this child unnecessarily? You can take him back. When Vasudeva was returning home with his firstborn child, although he was pleased by the behavior of Kans, he could not believe in him because he knew that Kans was uncontrolled. An atheistic person cannot be firm in his word of honor. One who cannot control the senses cannot be steady in his determination. The great politician Chanakya Pandit said, never put your trust in a diplomat or a woman. Those who are addicted to unrestricted sense gratification can never be truthful, nor can they be trusted with any faith. Hare Krishna.
So what has Kamsa done after Vasudeva has taken his firstborn child to him? Has he killed him?
No,
No,
he
it-
has returned him.
child.
Yeah, he now Kamsa is feeling compassion and he says, no, I don't want to kill, you can take the child back. Now the statement here, the great politician Chanakya Pandit said, never put your trust in a diplomat or a woman. Are we feeling offended as women?
No, because they are very much prone to unrestricted sense gratification, and that is true because in Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita as well, that is mentioned, and Prabhupada has mentioned it too. So we are not offended because anything that's true, why would a devotee be offended hearing the truth or if someone is speaking the truth?
Yes. So the body of a woman, see, remember we are not the body, we are spirit soul, and every body has its nature. So a woman's body is by nature more attached to sense gratification. It's the women who are more attached to the children. It's the women who are more emotionally inclined than the men. And it's the women who like their jewelry. No, we know that a diamond is a woman's best friend. So like that, in the woman's body is more prone to sense gratification as compared to that of the body of a man. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is the story of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. And Devahuti very nicely served her husband, and her husband wanted to reciprocate. No? And so what he did was, in order to satisfy his wife Devahuti, he expanded himself 9 times. And in those 9 expansions, he united with his wife in order to satisfy her. So from this, we understand that a woman's the sexual appetite of a woman is 9 times greater than that of a man. So yes, a woman's body is more prone to sense gratification. Continue.
At that time, the great sage Narad came to Kans. He was informed of Kans becoming compassionate to Vasudeva and returning his firstborn child. Narad was very eager to accelerate the descent of Lord Krishna as soon as possible. He therefore informed Kans that in Vrindavan personalities like Narad Maharaj and all the other cowherd men and their wives, and on the other side Vasudev, his father Surasen, and all his relatives born in the family of Varnashi of the Yadu dynasty, along with all their friends and well-wishers, were actually demigods. Narad warned Kans to be careful of them, since Kans and his friends and advisors were all demons. Demons are always afraid of demigods. After being thus informed by Narad about the appearance of the demigods in different families, Kans at once became very much alarmed. He understood that since the demigods had already appeared, Lord Vishnu must be coming soon. He at once arrested both his brother-in-law and Vasudev and Devaki and put them behind prison bars. Hare Krishna.
So now Kamsa has put Vasudeva and Devaki in jail, in prison. What led to him putting them in prison?
Narad advisor. Narad came.
Narada, yes. Narada told Kamsa that already these demigods have taken birth in these dynasties related to Krishna, and therefore you should not, don't take it easy, you know. And because Narada said this to Kamsa, now he has arrested Vasudeva and Devaki. So can we blame Narada Muni for doing what he did?
No, absolutely not, because Krishna sits in his heart, and Krishna is the one who directly instructs him what to do, what not to do, and where to go and where not to go, and who to talk to and who not to talk to.
Okay, so why did Narada do what he did? What did he want?
This was the plan of Krishna. He wanted this plan to come out to be like this. So Narada just played the role of the instruction following of Krishna.
But see here, Narada was very eager to accelerate the descent of Lord Krishna as soon as possible. So this is why Narada did what he did. He wanted
The
to.
secret behind Mataji, the secret behind is that because if all the kids would be dead, then Krishna would be born. So he wanted to make this Krishna born hurry up. So when he comes on this earth, then he can kill Kansa, and that
Yes.
is the process.
Yes, so he wanted Krishna to descend as soon as possible, to accelerate the descent of Krishna. That's why Narada did what he did. Okay, let's continue.
Within the prison, shackled and in iron chains, Vasudeva and Devaki gave birth to a male child year after year, and Kans, thinking each of the babies to be in the incarnation of Vishnu, killed them one after another. He was particularly afraid of the 8th child, but after the visit of Narad, he came to the conclusion that any child might be Krishna. Therefore, it was better to kill all the babies who took birth from Devaki and Vasudeva. This action of Kans is not very difficult to understand. In the history of the world, there are many instances in the history of the world of persons in the royal order who have killed their father, brother, or whose whole family and friends for the satisfaction of their ambitions. There is nothing astonishing about this, for members of the demoniac, greedy royal order can kill anyone for their nefarious ambitions. Hare Krishna Mata.
So Vasudeva and Devaki gave birth to a male child year after year. So who was the 7th child?
Balaram Bhaiya,
And 8th?
Krishna.
Yes. Okay. Let's continue.
Kans was made aware of his previous birth by the grace of Narad. He learned that in his previous birth he had been a demon of the name Kalami, and that he had been killed by Vishnu. Having now taken his birth in the Bhoja family, he decided to become the deadly enemy of the Yadu dynasty. Krishna was going to take birth in that family, and Kans was very much afraid that he would be killed by Krishna, just as he had been killed in his last birth. He first of all imprisoned his father Ugrasen. because he was the chief king among the Yaduboj and Andhaka dynasties. Andhaka. And he also occupied the kingdom of Surasen, Vasudev's father. He declared himself the king of all such planets. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the first chapter of Krishna, the advent of Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So who was Kamsa in his previous birth?
He was Kalani.
Yes. He was a demon called Kalanemi and he was killed by Vishnu. And now in this birth also, therefore, he is scared of Lord Vishnu. And we will see in the next class how actually the 6 children that Kamsa killed of Devaki, the first 6 sons, were actually his own children in his previous lifetime. So there is a story behind that. But for that, we will wait till the next class. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dhanal Pranam. Can I ask you one question?
Yes.
You just mentioned that the 6 kids that he kills are his own kids from previous life, right?
Yes.
So he doesn't remember, right?
No, he doesn't know that. But it was a curse. And because of that curse, he ended up killing his own sons in this lifetime.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
May I ask you one question?
Yes.
Because it was question related with Chanakya and woman, no?
Yes.
So what is as we are a humans, we are simply a human people. Of course, we are having education of this many lokas and many things to have in our incarnations, futures and all. But simply we are human this time on earth. And as a woman, anybody, I'm just a question for that. What is the prime duty of a woman in their life? What is the prime duty of it? Is not now. I'm not asking now. In the next class, everyone should prepare the questions reply, and then I will have 5 minutes for this particular subject.
No, but the point is, if we see, when we give answers to questions, the answers have to be shastric. So if we give answers just based on what I think is right or what is my opinion, Srila Prabhupada said opinions, who cares for anybody's opinions? Because 10 people will have 100 opinions. So what we have to reply has to be only from the Shastra. That is important.
Yes, of course. That is we are the human beings, no? So what should be our first duty, and what will be the role of a woman? Maybe on the Shastra or maybe on a common opinion. So that is, it is not an indivisible subject. It is a common, is a species. Human is a species. And what I think, it is just thinking as per the thing, that our first duty should be to save our human breed. Otherwise, after few years, we will find in the museum, it was supposed to be human like that. As the age factor is going on, where the role of a woman, importance of the role of a woman in this. On those parts, this is my question, that what should be a role of a woman as a human? Maybe due to Shastra, you can search from the Shastra, search from the any of this question.
Okay, so we'll do that. I will open up the WhatsApp group so that as you find answers from the Shastra about the duties of a woman, you all can share it in the group. Is that okay?
Sure, because this I found in the Gita, because there are certain explanations, but behind that explanations there are many things are hidden, which we have to explain, or we have to understand these things. What does the mean of these sentences of in the Shastra or Gita? Okay. So now the current problem of the human society is, as we are seeing everywhere, the war, fights, and this all. And our age factor is reducing day by day. You can see our ancestors and you can see the next generations, difference are coming up. So this is all, whatever what we're having education of Gita and the Lord Krishna's and all, and how we can implement this education for the human society, how we can think about betterment of this as to Shastras, as per the hidden part of the Gita, which is we have to explore. Anyhow, this is my submission today, and we will see in later classes and all.
Yeah, we'll see what replies we have in the group, and then we can discuss this. What we'll do is in the next class, I always log in 15 minutes before. If there are any discussions or anything to be done before the class, 15 minutes before we have for that, we can discuss it before. So 11:45 Chile time, I will be there on Zoom, and those who want, you can log in 15 minutes before. We can have this discussion before we begin the class at 12 Chile time. Okay.
Wonderful. It's obliged. Anyhow, thank you very much for this, giving this all stream support, torch bearer. You are like a educational torch bearer for us.
No, it's all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Naturally, that's right. Almighty is there.
Okay, what-
Mataji, I just have one question. So the seventh child that was born to Vasudeva and Devaki was Balrama.
Yes.
So then he didn't kill him, right? Kamsa didn't kill him, or he did kill.
No, Kamsa was not able to kill him because Balaram was transferred from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. And it appeared that Devaki had a miscarriage, that we will see in the second chapter.
Okay, Mataji, okay.
So that's why he is also called as Rohini Nandan. Balaram is called as Rohini Nandan, as well as he is called as Devaki Nandan, because he was in the wombs of both these women.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this class is over now. You can make this class, you cannot make this class bigger for like 1 more hour next time.
Yeah, this is one thing that I wanted to discuss, because when we finished with our Gita classes, one of the suggestions was 2 hours is too long a time, and they wanted us to reduce it to 1 hour. And therefore, if we reduce it to 1 hour, then we can spend that much less time to explain. And it also means that we will have a longer period. Like if we have to finish this course in 2 years, if we have only a 1 hour class, it may take 2.5 years, or maybe even 3 years. We don't know. So we have to choose one of the two, whether we want 1.5 hour or 2 hour class, each class, or we want lesser explanations, or whether we want to extend it from a 2-year course to a 2.5, 3-year course. So we have to make a choice here. We cannot do all three, you see.
Can we do it 2 hours with you?
So what we'll do is we will take a poll in the next class, and we will see what is it that the majority wants. And we will go by what the majority decides in the next class. For me, anything is fine. 2 hour class or 3 hour, it's fine for me. But we'll see what the majority wants, and we will decide accordingly. See, just the previous class I had to rush because I was running out of time, and I had to also finish the syllabus. So we have to make a choice somewhere, no?
I have to tell few words for this class, just a minute about the reply of this all.
Yes.
That you all understand Hindi, no?
Yes.
So it's better. So एक बार अकबर को बिरबल ने बोला कि आपके जितने भी पेरेंट्स थे एंड सिस्टर्स, वो सब भूखे मरते हुए मरे हैं। अकबर को बड़ा गुस्सा आ गया कि कैसे बिरबल तुमने बोला ऐसा, प्रूव करो इसको। बिरबल ने कहा अच्छा कल प्रूव करते हैं हम आप। उन्होंने क्या किया, बीरबल में जितने भी पूरे शहर सिटी में जितने भी जो मिठाई और स्वीट्स और अच्छी अच्छी मतलब फूड्स बनाने वाले थे उनको बुलाया और सबको डिस्प्ले करवा लिया। ओके, और अकबर को बुलाया कि साहब आइए आप। अकबर को बोला आप ऐसा करो, थोड़ा थोड़ा टेस्ट करके बताओ किसका कैसा है। अब अकबर ने टेस्ट करना शुरू किया, 1 से लगाकर 100 तक थोड़ा थोड़ा थोड़ा, और पीछे आदमी उसका वेट करता गया और तोलता गया और देखा कि वो 2.5 किलो से ज्यादा खा गया एक टाइम में। तब अकबर को बोला कि आप रोज कितना खाते हो? कि भाई आधा किलो जैसे या 200 ग्राम। तो देखिए अभी आप 2.5 किलो खा गए, तो आप इसका मतलब भूखे मरते मर रहे हैं ना। ऐसा ही मुझे इस क्लास में लग रहा है, 1 घंटा ऐसा निकल जाता है कि पता ही नहीं चलता है अभी कुछ और चाहिए। समझे? वो भूखा ही रहते हमें ना, तो ये 2 घंटे भी क्लास होगी तो भी पता नहीं चलेगा। सच इंटरेस्टिंग एवरीथिंग। और हमें ऐसा ही लगता है कि कभी भी कुछ बाकी है इस क्लास के बाद।
Okay. Yeah, because previous Gita classes we had for 1.5, 2 hours, and some people said that it's too much. So we have to go by, let's see, we'll take a poll and see what the majority wants, and then we can fix it up for the next class. Is that fine?
Fine,
Yeah.
perfect for us.
Yes, Mother.
Yes, Mother.
Okay. What else do we need to discuss? Okay, so since there are no more questions, no more comments, see you all in the next class. Till then, have a nice week in Krishna consciousness. Thank you all very
Hare
much.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Lord.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Bol.